The anime begins by telling us something that's often said, that objects treated with care are inhabited by a spirit, which raises the question of what might dwell in things that are thrown away as trash. Now we see a girl feeling a bit sad because her stuffed animal has broken, and when her mother notices, she tells her that she'll buy her a new one, and that it's better to just throw the old one away. Once she puts it in the trash bags, these are taken to an underground depot, which is connected by ducts to garbage trucks. This is closely observed by someone who follows its trail all the way to the building that serves as the city's garbage dump. That person is our protagonist Ludo, who ends up sneaking into the building to reach the depot where the recently discarded trash is kept. One of the guards discovers him after hearing the noise he makes, so he opens the door and points his weapon at him. Taking a look, he immediately assumes it's the garbage criminal, the person who steals it to threaten the city's beauty. Ludo just turns to look at him without saying a word, and without waiting for his response, the guard presses the emergency button to call for backup right away. This is when Ludo throws some garbage bags at them to distract them, and one of them is completely disgusted when his uniform gets stained. Ludo takes advantage of this distraction to escape through the duct connected to that room, and once outside, he uses his speed to dodge the bullets fired in his direction. Even though he gives it his all to escape, one of the bullets grazes his arm, but that doesn't stop him from jumping over the wall up ahead to get out of their sight. After that, the guards keep searching for his trail without any success, so Ludo simply climbs up to the surface and leaves just like that. As a result of this incident, some women in the city start talking about the matter. What they do is complain that this criminal is taking the trash, and they bet that he's someone from the tribes. They fall silent for a moment when they realize that one of them is nearby, feeling a deep disgust for the society reflected by the people in that place. And that man is named Leguto, who closes the notebook he is writing in and heads toward the door that connects the city to the tribe. Both sides are separated by a giant wall, making the difference between the city and the tribe very clear. Some men from the tribe find out that the trash criminal has struck again and drawn attention. And since they know it's Ludo, they complain that he just won't give up on that. Suddenly, Ludo is greeted by Shua, a friend of his, who scolds him for stealing trash again, since the people from the city are very strict about waste management. Ludo tells her that the rich throw away things that can still be used, and if he's able to fix something, it helps him with expenses. Seconds later, the other kids arrive to complain about Ludo's presence and advise Shua not to get close to that guy. She asks what's so bad about him, since everyone here is the same, but the boy warns her that she'd better not hang out with him because he's the son of a murderer, and according to what people say, this neighborhood was created to lock up criminals, and they are their descendants. That's why they work hard, aiming to earn an honest living and clear that bad reputation. But all their efforts were in vain because Ludo's father killed many people, and if she's with him, people will think they're the same. At that moment, his words are cut short when he feels Ludo's sharp and terrifying gaze, so he hides his fear and leaves with his friends while still mocking him. Once they're alone again, Shua tells Ludo that he is different from his father and that she trusts that's true, which he appreciates, albeit a bit embarrassed. Shua suddenly gets excited when she sees the stuffed animal he has repaired, and Ludo tries to tell her that it's a gift for her, but unable to speak properly, Shua's mother arrives to take her away. This causes Ludo to fail in his attempt to give her the stuffed animal, and you can hear Shua's mother reminding her that she shouldn't spend time with him. After that, Ludo returns home, where he is greeted by Leguto, who mockingly repeats the words he said to Shua, making it clear that he was listening to them. Ludo complains about it, but now Leguto demands an explanation from him about the incident that happened in the city. Without waiting for an answer, he reminds him that he doesn't have to earn money if it means risking his life, and that he can leave the expenses to him until he grows up. He also adds that even though they're not related by blood, they're still family. That's why he doesn't want him to try to pay him back, since things don't work that way. After hearing this, Ludo reminds him that he took him in when he was abandoned as a baby and has raised him his whole life, so he's not trying to pay him back, but rather believes that even within a family, things should be appreciated. Leguto is surprised to hear this and advises him to be just as honest with Shua so she knows how he feels, which makes Ludo angry. Leaving that topic aside, Leguto notices that he was injured, so he asks him to take off his gloves and bandages so he can treat the wound. While doing so, he asks him not to go back to the garbage dump, since next time things could be much worse. Ludo tells him that this wound isn't a big deal, not when compared to the wound his parents left him. Even so, Leguto tells him that here, anyone who commits a serious crime is sentenced to death and thrown into the abyss, and that his father was thrown into that place. That's why he wants him to take care of himself and the things that matter. This even though they live in such a rotten world. Here they explain to us that Ludo's hands have been this black for as long as he can remember. Sometimes he was overwhelmed by a sharp pain. That, and the looks of disgust from people who saw his unpleasant wounds, really affected him mentally when he was a child. It was then that Leguto gave him those gloves, and even though they were already worn out, they immediately eased his pain. And all of this leads him to believe that he will never be able to repay him for practically saving his life. Suddenly, Leguto tells him that he has to win Shiwa over before someone else takes her, since she's very pretty, something Ludo immediately rejects, embarrassed. While they're talking about certain things, you can see a hooded man listening to them from outside. The next day, Leguto notices that Ludo isn't able to make a normal smile, so he advises him to at least try imitating someone else to make a good impression. But Ludo complains about his advice, thinking it's useless to try something like that when he has such a frightening look. Outside, holding the stuffed animal in his hand, he wonders if Shua will be home at this hour. As he walks through the streets, we're told that the abyss is a huge garbage dump, meaning that everything that's thrown away ends up there, and the fate of people who commit crimes is also the abyss. Here we see a large number of people carrying out a sentence on a criminal, and when they give the signal, they release the ropes holding him so that he falls into the great abyss. Ludo takes a look at what's happening and wonders what happens to the people who are thrown into that place. Suddenly, he is surprised by Shua, and because of her unexpected arrival, he nervously hides the stuffed toy. Without paying much attention to him, she tells him that there's nothing pleasant to see from here, and that they built the neighborhood on the outskirts of the city to make it clear to everyone that they'll be thrown into the abyss if they commit any misdeeds. Keeping this in mind, she thinks it's something horrible, because whether they like it or not, they'll end up witnessing some execution, and she wouldn't want to see him being thrown in. She's aware that a lot of the trash they throw away is still useful, but she doesn't think it's right for him to risk himself for that and end up getting caught. Ludo mentions that this is the same advice Leguto gave him, and upon hearing that, Chiwa confirms it's because he also cares about him a lot and because he matters to him. At this, Ludo laughs at the idea that someone like Leguto would care about him, but as he repeats those words, he realizes that she also said too. As soon as Chiwa realizes this, she can't help but blush, so she tries to clarify that she didn't mean it that way. Seeing her act like that, Ludo can't help but fall backwards in shock, which ends up revealing the stuffed animal. The moment she realizes what she's holding in her hands, Ludo musters all his strength to tell her that when he found it, he thought she would like it. He admits it's possible she might not like something someone else threw away, but even so, he believed the stuffed animal would be happier with her than in the trash. After handing the stuffed animal to her so she can take it, Chiwa accepts it and tells him that she's happy and that she'll take care of it forever. Ludo is unable to keep a straight face after seeing her so happy, and when she walks away, he ends up running with all his might, thrilled at having succeeded in giving her that gift. When he comes to his senses, he gets the idea to tell Leguto what happened to see his reaction, so he heads home right away. As he turns a corner, he suddenly bumps into the disciples, the city guards. They ignore this mishap and continue on their way, while the neighborhood residents start to wonder what they're doing in this area. Instead, Ludo ignores all that and focuses on going to see Leguto. But as soon as he opens the door, instead of seeing Leguto's familiar face, he finds a hooded figure and a huge sword buried in Leguto's body. The figure grabs the weapon to press it deeper into the wound, and as Ludo recovers from the shock, he rushes straight at him to stop him. Suddenly he comes to after the beating he takes from him, unable to stand up to try to stop him. The figure picks up a book from the floor and looks at it before leaving, and once he forgets about him, Ludo focuses on Leguto. With the little strength he has left, he begs him to run away quickly, but since Ludo refuses to leave his side, not wanting to abandon him, he grabs him tightly and pleads with him to please change this disgusting world. As he draws his last breath, Ludo is hit by a stun shot from the disciples, who accuse him of murder. Ludo tries to defend himself while still in shock from the situation and the paralyzing attack, but they ignore everything he says and continue to see him as a murderer. And in response to his insistence on proving his innocence, one of them ends up punching him to knock him out. As a result of this horrible incident, people in the area start spreading the rumor that Ludo has killed someone. And when Chiwa hears all of this, she keeps the stuffed animal with her, refusing to believe that it's true. Now we see the man who acts as the judge at public executions, who tells everyone present that Ludo has committed a very serious crime in this beautiful and sacred land, that not only is he content with scavenging through the trash to defile the city, but he has finally committed the vilest act of all. And even though the victim was a member of the tribe, they cannot allow a murderer to remain a second longer on the sacred land. As this announcement is made, Ludo is slowly placed at the execution site, suspended in the air while ropes hold his arms. In addition to that, several city agents remain watching the trial to prevent any inconvenient events, although the members of the tribe stay silent as they watch Ludo with contempt. Finally, without further ado, the judge sentences him to death, and many of those present celebrate this final decision, using the phrase, "filth to the abyss." Ludo, being conscious at that point, can only wonder in his mind what on earth is happening, since he doesn't understand how things turned out this way, especially because he wasn't guilty of anything. Little by little, the structure to which he is tied is brought to the edge overlooking the abyss, and as this happens, Ludo pleads from within for someone to listen to him. As he glances at all the people surrounding him, There is someone in particular who catches his attention, and that person turns out to be Chiwa. Barely able to recognize her, he uses all the strength in his voice to shout to her that Leguto was murdered and that she must please find the culprit. But the words that come from Chiwa leave a silence in the air as she replies that he did this even though she believed in him and that he will never stop being the son of a murderer. After that, she looks away in disappointment, turns around to leave, but not before letting go of the stuffed animal. It is at this moment that Ludo lets out a slight laugh and tells those present that they are the filthy ones and that they are trash without a will of their own. And even though they have eyes and ears, they are nothing but puppets who refuse to see and listen. Just as he is about to make a statement to them, he falls silent when he realizes that the guy who killed Leguto is in the audience. Moments later, the signal is given to release him, and that's exactly what happens. As he descends into the abyss, he finishes the statement he was about to make. He intends to drag them all down to hell, wishing to annihilate each and every one of them. Once he is swallowed by the abyss, he has a blurry vision of everything around him, but once that small light goes out, he later wakes up on top of a pile of garbage. Barely fully awake, the first thing he does is cover his nose and wonder what that horrible smell is. After that, he stares at the enormous landscape in front of him, which is actually a true giant of garbage, the abyss itself. The landscape is so vast that he wonders where he is, and as he recalls, he remembers that he was thrown into the abyss. From what he understands, it was rumored to be a huge garbage dump. The garbage, the humans, all the filth converges in the abyss, which is hell itself. It is at this moment that a violent tremor occurs, and when he looks behind him, he sees a colossal monster baring its fangs while letting out a bone-chilling screech, something that leaves him stunned with shock. And that's the end of chapter 1. If you liked it, comment part 2 so I know you want it. Subscribe to the channel, and you can also check out these other videos that appear next.